What I'm saying is now, boy, the reason why Trinidad and Tobago get rid of the PNM is because they were very audacious. They had a lot of audacity. They wasn't listening to nobody. Rowley started to move like a big bully and thing, and Trinidad and Tobago was like, you know what? We fed up on this man and we get rid of him. Right? Now, in getting rid of him now, it had the UNC day, and they come and they sing sweet songs to the public now, boy, and tell them to go fix crime and the economy and the forex thing. We can't have no forex in the country. They will fix that too as well. Rowley taking advantage of it with the traffic fines and the police bullying the citizens and thing. And they get inside there now. And they're doing triple what the PNM was doing. The worse than the PNM by far. Right? Because they triple the fines, we never fix the forex thing, crime still out of control, they failing on their promises on them, and the ministers on them and looking like they too know what they're doing. But you see Kamala Pasabi, Sessa, and Barry Paradat and all of these UNC government ministers, including Philip Alexander, all they have no moral ground to talk about no racism in Trinidad and Tobago unless all they talk about the racism within the UNC. Whether it be all their own ministers like Philip Alexander who say Rowley is a monkey and a pelt shit, or all their following. Because if all they look at all their followers, it's full of racists. I never see more racists until I see UNC. You understand me? Kamala Pasabi Sessa, all they had to stop using racism as a tool when it fit all the narrative alone and bending the truth, like if other people doing all your racist things alone. And racist things don't come out of all your party. You don't want to acknowledge all your shortcomings. But quick to spin a narrative to make a headline so that it could fit a certain thing now, boy. And then all your bots on the internet who just bawling, yeah, when we win, everybody win. And controlling a certain sector of the public who not really able to think for themselves now, boy. And who just only read the headline and don't really, you know what I mean, know going on in the country. Because I don't really fully understand either, you know. But all I know is that voice note or that conversation was a private conversation between two people. And Kamala Pasabi Sessa and the UNC, they are consistent with locking up people now for the point of view, including Alyssa Phillip. They lock up Jason Silva. Johan, was he still inside? Right? They went as far as to lock up Joshua Samaru's father, who was grieving his son and said that he wanted to get rid of some police and thing because it's them who kill his son and they lock you up too. And don't need that go here because you get sick, you know. Else I feel over that he lock up they still too. So what I want all to do, John Public, is not, I mean, yes, the incident is a little juicy because of the voice note and we hear the private conversation and thing, right? But all these things are connected, you know. The dictator doing different things, is dictatorship vibes going on in different aspects of life, including locking up Hardy and them who is like opposition to the dictator. Right? That ain't solving no crime, that ain't helping Trinidad and Tobago in not no 2-3%. Now it bring light to plenty things, like how the systems operate with rich people and poor people, and the 1% Syrians and them had a little corner too as part of the same. But look at what Kamala doing me or whatever that. It bring light to those things. But at the end of the day, the system is not to be used by nobody who in charge for their own personal agenda, like what Kamala and them doing by locking up people who they disagree with. It's the worst I have seen throughout our country in terms of people overreach. And people doing what they want and type thing. The worst than PNM. They have kept no promises. The grocery and them still high and stifling people. The pothole is the same size in the road or it's bigger by now. They are not fixing Trinidad and Tobago. I say the same thing with this UNC government. Everything is about yellow, yellow, yellow. They don't feel no patriotism. It seems as though they are fine with the division that Philip Alexander and their own racism does cause. Because they don't address that. But as soon as they find some kind of little kind of inkling and like a vibes towards them, the quick come now, they quick to come on ball. Racism only look and see. All your team racist too. All your team racist worse. All your team racist bad. And nobody from all the side calling it out. That tells me that you're like disingenuous about fixing racism and fixing my country. And playing with it and playing with the people who less intellect to see what all they're doing. And all they're getting through too now. Because there's a lot of dunce people in Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody willing to think for themselves. Nobody willing to form their own narrative. Nobody willing to look at the history that we've been through and look where we are now and the things that we might need to do in order to change our cycle. Everybody willing to grab onto the bacchanal. And that's why all they watching this little voice note thing here with Kamala lock up Daddy and them and let them go and all kind of thing and hold on to that alone and not seeing this party for who it is. Let go everybody who only are on that PDO. Because the only thing that show up in there is that other people not rich enough to come out. Them ministers should really resign. Because all they using on the state funds and things for stupidness. All they pay me in problem to have to pay out. And somehow, right-thinking citizens of this country, I had to tell them and convince them, although we can't stay angry, you know. We had to somehow try to make this place a better place by identifying politicians all here. When it is Kamala and them want to try to pull some kind of invisible makeup moral ground to talk about racism, I'm not addressing it holistically within their own parties and outside too, because we don't want no racism in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm fed up by it too. All it do is keeping me apart and divided. We cannot grow through this. And Kamala only using it, all the intellect and all the smart and all they know exactly what is all they doing. Anyhow, Trinidad and Tobago, all the big up on yourself, right? And have a nice day.
Gentlemen, this is Ian Allen. One man was just shot dead. He's been identified as a police officer, Police Constable Douglas from Western Division. And in this theater right to the back of me here. This is right opposite hydraulic trace in Kelly. PDD 63, I believe that's 6374. 6374. That's all we have so far. And but what is very interesting is just opposite here. If my camera person can just shift back here a little bit. Just across here, this exact spot many years ago, a police officer identified as a PC Victor was shot dead at Christmas Eve night here. Many years. It's either 2022, somewhere around there. PC Victor, I could remember that. And we were looking for an individual in connection has run Darby. And I remember searching for the person, you know, and we got him after a year. But he was charged for that murder. He's in custody right now. But I remember looking for that person. I am the person that got justice for the Victor family. I am Officer Victor. And just imagine right opposite, right across the road, opposite that Kaiser Chinese restaurant. Now you have PC Douglas shot dead. Now we don't know what exactly happened. There are spent shells all over the road, scattered all over the road to the back of me here. So we're going to keep you posted. This is Ian Allen in Kelly. If you have any information, if you saw anything, get in contact with me.
Has been released from prison and placed on house arrest. State has had that recording from since before it arrested anybody. A month later, all three are free and no one has been charged. The state says that parts of the phone call point to a conspiracy to assassinate the Prime Minister and senior government officials. Both women denied. The phone call itself isn't evidence that just surfaced. The foundation that the arrest was built on from day one. Tabga walked out at 11:30 Monday night after a 6-hour stay and the state's failed attempt to extend it. Home, house arrest, passport gone. No communication with anybody outside, lawyers and doctors. Here's the part that matters. The Court of Appeal never asked whether anybody said anything ugly on the phone. It asked whether the state could produce particulars of a conspiracy and evidence of a developing plan. Judges said having the means isn't enough. The state has held that recording since June 24th. If it proves a plot, well then that's a charge sheet. Instead, it went to social media. And then 3 people went home. A month in prison, 0 charges. The tape was never the problem. Proving what it meant was. Leave it us in the comment section below. All 3 of the suspects in the alleged assassination plot are now free from prison.
Did the Minister of Homeland Security place false information on Dominic Hadid's detention order? According to Dominic Hadid's detention order, let me read word for word what it says. The intelligence indicates that following statements made in Parliament during the debate on the extension of the present state of emergency, the detainee expressed violent intentions by stating words to the effect that persons would be shot in their head. Intelligence further indicates that these statements were made in furtherance of developing plan to target members of the government. Let me read again. The detainee expressed violent intentions by stating words to the effect that persons would be shot in their head. This does not say that the detainee is related to persons that said it. This says the detainee expressed violent intentions by stating words to the effect that persons would be shot in their head. We all received in our inboxes, in our WhatsApp, it's on TikTok, it's all over. It's there for public consumption. Star Sabga uttered those words. We don't believe that even in the entirety of that conversation that Star Sabga was plotting an assassination. It's erroneous. But one thing for certain, those words were not uttered by Dominic Hadid. He was not even part of the conversation. But this detention order states, the detainee expressed violent intentions by stating words to the effect that persons would be shot in their head. Trinidad and Tobago, this is no different to the Joshua Samaru case. This is no different to the Kaya Sealy case. If the audio recording was not leaked, just like the camera footage of Joshua Samaru and Kaya Sealy, this government would be able to say anything they want, and we would have no choice but to accept it. The audio recording before us in the public domain clearly shows us that Star Sabga was the person uttering those words. This detention order seems to be filled with information that is inaccurate. I don't want to say lies. But if this is the audio recording that the Minister of Homeland Security would have listened to, would you agree with me that he misled whoever this document going to? Is it the courts? I have no idea who he misled or attempted to mislead. But that I just read for you in the detention order is most certainly not accurate. Trinidad and Tobago, do not let them distract you with talks of race. Do I agree with the words of Star Sabga? No. But we can support justice without agreeing with her words. Do I think that her words were racist? Yes. Do I think that UNC is being hypocritical? Yes, as usual. But the issues should not be mixed together and jumbled up. And that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to conflate everything, mix up everything into a callaloo, so that we lose focus on what really matters. The Prime Minister issued statements about the C word and calling again the Syrian Lebanese community. Now she's calling them bigots, racist bigots. When, as the head of National Security Council, she needs to tell us how did intelligence breach? How was that leaked? That is a major national security breach, and she has not addressed the nation as the head of the National Security Council. Now we are seeing that the audio directly conflicts the detention order that was issued by the Minister of Homeland Security. These are conversations that need to take forefront. We will not accept, and I am calling on the media, do not encourage the race talk. That is a distraction. That is a deflection. Do not ask her about it. Do not carry news about it. Put her back against the wall. Pin her to a corner, figuratively, of course. Just in case y'all think my words aren't absolutely figuratively. The media must demand answers from the head of the Security Council, from the Prime Minister. Real answers to real questions, not distractions. How much money has been spent by the state in what I consider to be a political witch hunt? What is the real reason behind the detention of Dominic Hadid? Because clearly it was not because he uttered those words. The authorities must be made to account to the nation. They are being paid by our tax-paying dollars. They work for us. And the media must do their jobs. Do not allow the UNC to change the conversation. Ask her over and over and over again how much money was spent on those UK lawyers. And now go and ask her why it is her Minister of Homeland Security placed words on a detention order that are categorically incorrect. We need to find out why all of a sudden, 1 minute the state was appealing house arrest, the next minute, whoop, no detention order at all. These are questions that must be asked and must be answered. We need to stay focused and continue to ask those questions. This is not about whether somebody talk race in the privacy of their own home, which is another question that the media must continue to press. Who is the judge that gave permission for this phone call to be intercepted? Why were these two women having their conversations monitored by the state? Was it legal? These are the questions that the media must continue to press. And do not carry conversations. She could talk all she wants. The Prime Minister could talk race, she could talk race, she could talk race. If we do not carry that news, it will die. Continue to carry the news that matters. Continue to have the conversations that matter. Do not fall for it, Trinidad and Tobago. And to the media, do not fall for it. These are serious questions that the UNC government continues to ignore. Since January, I was talking about the HSF withdrawals. They have not spoken about it. They continue to just ignore it, knowing that we will forget it and talk about things that have no bearing on the state of the country. What Star Sabga says is her business. She's not using taxpayers' dollars. Trinidad and Tobago and the media at large, we've got to focus. We've got to put our heads down and demand accountability where it matters. Keep the conversation where it matters. The Homeland Security Minister must answer why it is the evidence that is in the public domain most certainly contradicts what he wrote on his detention order of Dominic Hadid. Stay focused, Trinidad and Tobago.
Point, but the issue for me really isn't so much the wiretapping, because wiretapping has been going on for a long time now. We are no different. All around the world, via different agencies, wiretapping is a thing. And quite frankly, I much rather the government find out about a bomb before it goes boom, rather than after it goes boom. What is standing out to me, though, is that a news article came out 2 weeks ago that said between 2020 to the present day, there were 314 wiretaps approved by judges. This is indicating to me that for a number of years, our intelligence agency has been operating behind the scenes, getting warrants from judges to wiretap certain phones, and we don't know how much threats they would have prevented in the background. We don't know. We just go about our daily lives just casual. What should be bothering us is the fact that why is it as these people jump into the dance, calls start leaking? When in the history of Trinidad and Tobago has this happened in modern history? When? If you all can't keep things secured within our strategic intelligence body, then what is the purpose? Do you see why I call them the OJT government? They are learning while on the job. Why is it everything they touch always have some controversy behind it? Like, just touch something and improve on it. Just try that tomorrow. Improve on it. No chaos, no controversy, nothing. Just improve.
When a bullet fly, Trinidad's latest courtroom blockbuster, now showing at a TV near you. The country wake up and realize we have moved from crime news to a full Netflix series, Intercepted, the Landline Chronicles. According to the affidavit, the big evidence is a conversation where words like bullet and fly allegedly appear. Now everybody trying to figure out if we are dealing with serious threat, a heated family rant, or just two Trinis talking after watching too much action movies. One person says when a bullet fly, the other person probably saying, wait now, fly where? economy class or first class. But jokes aside, the real drama is happening in the courtroom. The minister is saying we have to keep her because the threat is serious. The tribunal is saying we reviewed it and we think she should go home. The public watching like it's a double line. So who getting the extra pepper sauce? The big question now, is this a case of the state stopping a disaster before it happens? Or are we watching a situation where emergency powers getting stretched like a Trinis doubles wrapper after a heavy lunch? Because in Trinidad, even the intercepted conversations getting more attention than a carnival soca release. So stay tuned for the next episode. The case of the missing context. What exactly did they mean? And of course, a disclaimer here, the allegations are before the courts and have not yet been proven. So we'll definitely keep paying attention to this one. It's becoming comical to me. Yeah. And of course, we'll bring you updates as soon as we have them. So stay tuned.
It is the investigator's responsibility to really communicate with their victim and what is happening.
Right.
At our unit, we usually do welfare checks.
Right.
Right? Just to make sure that everything is all right. So as of this morning, having spoken to the investigator, who is Sergeant Joseph Guerra, she would have done a welfare check on the victim.
Right.
And the mother, the victim is good. You know, his health is improving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, she continues with the investigation and an arrest is imminent. So the father can rest assured that the officers of the Special Victims Department, under the stewardship of Superintendent Reyes, is ensuring that his son gets justice. But I want to also expound on the fact that it doesn't stop with the police.
Correct.
Remember, it has to go before a court of law.
Correct. So while the police were charged, the court now has to bring all the evidence and facts together.
But the police responsibility is to ensure, before it reaches to the court, that all the evidence and the facts are credible. So when it goes to the court now, and it has to be tried, it doesn't fall apart. And that's our responsibility. So I know a lot of times people be frustrated because, oh gosh, they can't lock up this man as yet. But the last person that we engage with is the offender.
Correct.
Having done our investigation and captured all the evidence necessary.
So good morning. My name is Lucia. I'm a proud father of 3 children. On the 28th of May, my big son came out and told his mother what his uncle was doing to him for the past 3 years. Mother took him immediately to the Columbia police station where she made a report. She was given a receipt and told that child special victim unit will contact her next week. We went to Chaguanas police station. Nothing having been done. Up to this day, nothing having been done. Not a police came to the house. The perpetrator lives like 1 foot apart from the 3 children. Up to now, no police ever came. A month and more now, not a single representative from the TTPS has came. Nobody, only 1 representative from Children's Authority came. Up to now, nothing haven't been done, nothing. So this child, no justice for this child. That's because this was taking place in a government office, in the office of a government member, an MP. Just because it was taking place at that location, that place, nothing having been done. Officers have been trying to stole down. Please, any parent in this country, as a citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, as a civilian, as a citizen, I'm asking the public, anybody, please, lawyers, anybody, help us. Why this child cannot get justice? Why? Please, anybody in this Trinidad. I'm a parent, I'm appealing to the population. Please help us. We want justice for our child. We want to make sure no other child in this country has to go through this. Please help us, anybody. All parents, please.
Look, you have the receipt. You have the receipt?
I have a receipt here stating the report was made on the 28th of May at the Columbia police station. Up to now, no, we don't have a lawyer to go with us to see the procedures and make sure it was done properly and correct. Alright? We went to Mount Hope, they did our examination of the child. We went to Gasparilla police station for 2 days, 4 hours by 3 hours, interview with this child.
By Paolo Kernahan. To everyone saying they're connecting with Auntie's frustrations with this government and not her racist statements, answer me this. In that phone conversation, did you hear either of them express concerns about crime, the broken economy, the lack of forex, high food prices, the unemployment rate, etc.?
No.
The principal topic of discussion was the perceived victimization of the Syrian community and the refusal of the AG to help them with their U.S. visa problems. So, explain to me exactly how ordinary citizens connected with Annie's experience.
Present good day, sir. I am Captain Sergeant Canai from the Imperial Tourism Section Central Division, right? And what we're doing here today is illegal dumping. It is considered an offense under the Litter Act, Chapter 3050, right? So you know, I mean, we have to take into custody to answer the charge of littering, right? I want the population to see, you know, the vehicle number. It's not the first time that, you know, illegal dumping has been happening in Trinidad. I mean, it is becoming very prevalent. And, you know, as a police officer, we have to enforce the law. So just walk with me, and just walk with me. Right? You will see. Yes. Right? All these here. All these other items here, you know, right? So there are sites in Trinidad designated for the dumping of rubbish, my friend. We have the Claxton Bay dump, we have the Beetham landfill, and also we have one up in Guyana, right? So at this time, you know, I will be making the necessary arrangements to take you to the Cuba police station, right, for due process to follow. I hope you understand what I'm saying, right? Yeah. All right, very well.
Oh, my mind just run on Jesso. Orange boy, when I saw this orange boy, grab a snack, let me black a bit, let me pong the spang chai. All here, since 2025, probably late 2024, me see orange boy. Since Zoe gave him the oopsie bam and he didn't get the little loving he wanted to get. Orange boy just disappear from the scene. People from Port of Spain, they just see orange boy selling by his stall. Only way Orange Boy, we need some updates on Orange Boy, because just so I like when a new character unlock on social media, I just like it. I just be there. The personality, the story, the kang chai, the pang chai, the lago, we there. And then bam, hit we a Casper. Just so in my like, but when last you see Orange Boy, and I type in Orange Boy, his first profile that is almost 10,000 followers, no pete. Second profile, it had 80 something for, not 20 something for. What happened to Orange Boy earlier? I know I'm supposed to be telling all the by asking all the information. What happened to Orange Boy? I want to know. Cut and come to.
My name is Joe Chamberlain. I'm a proud father of 3 children. On the 28th of May, my big son came out and told his mother what his uncle was doing to him for the past 3 years. Mother took him immediately to the Grenada police station where she made a report. She was given a receipt and told that child special victim unit will contact her next week. We went to Chaguana's police station. Nothing having been done. After this day, nothing having been done. Not a police came to the house. The perpetrator lives like 1 foot apart from the 3 children. Up to now, no police ever came. A month and more now, not a single representative from the TTPS has came. Nobody, only 1 representative from Children's Authority came. Up to now, nothing haven't been done, nothing. So this child, no justice for this child. That's because this was taking place in a government office, in the office of a government member, an MP. Just because it was taking place at that location, that place, nothing having been done. Officers have been thanked to stole down. Please, any parent in this country as a citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, as a civilian, as a citizen, I'm asking the public, anybody, please, lawyers, anybody, help us. Why this child cannot get justice? Why? Please, anybody in this Trinidad, I'm a parent, I'm appealing to the population. Please help us. We want justice for our child. We want to make sure no other child in this country goes to go through this. Please help us, anybody. All parents, please.
Okay, you have the receipt. You have the receipt?
I have a receipt here stating the report was made on the 28th of May at the Kunupia police station. Up to now, no, we don't even have a lawyer to go with us to see the procedures and make sure it was done properly and correct. Alright? We went to Mountain, they did an examination on the child. We went to Gasparilla police station for 2 days, 4 hours by 3 hours interview with this child.
Love and respect Trinidad and Tobago. I realize that there is a new trend going on right about now in Trinidad and Tobago and even the Caribbean, where the wealthy people is exercising their money power by buying overpriced stuff. And today, I would like to introduce you all to my very own product, Uncle Size Toilet Paper. Here we go. Now, hold on. Before I go further, this toilet paper is not the toilet paper that you will buy in the supermarket. You understand? This is a special toilet paper. First thing first, it comes in our very own customized bag, silver and gold. Did I mention that anybody is buying the toilet paper, all the toilet paper has your name customized on it, and you only get 3 rolls of toilet paper for just the price of $990. Yes, that is a small price of $990. Come and get it as soon as possible. This toilet paper has gold particles in the toilet paper itself. Plus, it have good stuff for your body and your ass like vitamin C, vitamin E, primrose oil, collagen, zinc, omega-3 fatty acid. All these stuff is good for your body. And check it out. Each toilet paper roll has a customized coating over it. You could choose what color you want. You could get blue, you could get pink, whatever is your favorite color. You just tell us when you order in it and we wrap it with your favorite color. And today we have a special offer. The first 100 people that is buying this toilet paper will get a free hand soap and a free hand sanitizer. So when you're done deal with your ass, you could smell fresh to last. Me and you all, I'm out.
Done what the Commission of Inquiry is supposed to do, and they have already come to a definitive conclusion on this matter. And so we have asked for an early disclosure. This matter was heard before the Chief Magistrate. It was transferred to the Charity Court, where it will be before the Substantive Magistrate, because that's the jurisdictional court, and that we have asked for early disclosure in the matter, which I believe is on the 3rd of August, because we intend, as I said today in court, we intend to make preliminary legal arguments in relation to this matter. This is a complete unfair and injustice, because the complexity of this matter you could not complete an investigation in terms of the complexity of this matter with such a short time. There are a number of experts that you need to pull together in order to assist in the investigation of this matter. And that is why there's a COI. The primary persons who will have to talk at the COI is the captain of the vessel. The captain of the vessel will have to appear before a COI. Now this man is in prison. And then you're going to have a second issue. There's something we call sub judice, meaning that if a matter is before one court, then not even a commission can look into the affairs of that matter. So there are going to be barriers to the extent that the commission can dive into things. There is a clear pronouncement yesterday that, and the fears of the Guyanese people, that we may not even see the boat back on water. So my thing is, how do they hope to establish the weight of that?
I brought home the gold medal for Trinidad and Tobago in the 50 freestyle, and I'm super honored to win the first gold medal for Trinidad and Tobago.
Everybody knows the word vessel is going to be the one is 87 years old, that vessel. The vessel have a lot of history, the vessel. I'm not Okay, the vessel radar, we don't have a radar. The vessel don't have a start and rescue transport us. The vessel don't even have an import. Oh, God, oh, look at those lights laughing, those lights laughing.
If you want justice, you have to speak out. I know sometimes the situation can be really embarrassing at times, but if you stay quiet, you can never get justice. You have to speak out. So this was posted by the member for Caroni East, Dr. Richard Sicharam. So you all remember this gentleman here who came out and made some serious allegations. He said that his son came out and told his mom that he was being sexually assaulted for 3 years by one of his uncles at the MP's office. The man said that he made several reports, and to be honest, he didn't get no kind of justice. That is why he took it to social media. So after the video went viral and it caught a lot of people's attention, this is what the MP put out now. So I'm just going to get to the point. If you all want, you can read out the whole thing after. Upon being made aware of these allegations, immediate administrative action was taken. The employee in question has been sent on administrative leave with immediate effect, pending an investigation by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Alright, so at least let's pray that that young man and his family get some kind of justice. If you all want, you could pause it and read it.
Carefully. She said that although she spent sleepless nights at the Woodbrook Police Station, special branch officers took her back to her home during the day, where she was allowed to shower, change her clothes, and eat under police supervision. Hadid, 42, also stated that she was left in shock when her attorneys informed her that her maternal aunt, Star Saga, 69 years old, had also been detained. Now, did we hear that or did we miss it? Let me read it again. After speaking about the conditions in the prison, she said that, quote, although she spent sleepless nights at the Woodbrook Police Station, special branch officers took her back home during the day, where she was allowed to shower, change her clothes, and eat under police supervision. To the thousands of people who have been subject to those kinds of conditions, as terrible as the prison system is, and this wasn't even the worst of it because this was in a police station, not the Port of Spain prison remand. How many prisoners or detainees are allowed, not just allowed, are taken home by the police back to the comfort of their home to bathe, to change their clothes, and to eat, and then go back to the cell, have a sleepless night, and then in the day again be allowed to go back home, bathe, change, and eat, and then go back to the cell, again spend another sleepless night, and then during the day go back home under police supervision, bathe, shower, change your clothes, and eat. And I doubt all of that would have been done in half an hour. And to me, that is a much, 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 much bigger privilege than getting to look at the World Cup or spending time in the administration building at the prison. You getting to go home and eat your own home-cooked food? To shower in your own bathroom at home? Change your clothes? I don't know, maybe get some rest, lie down on your bed for a bit. Who knows? That part wasn't mentioned, but the bathing, having a shower, changing clothes, having a meal, that was mentioned. And that is, to me, by far more special treatment or privileged treatment than what Mr. Hadid received in being allowed to look at the World Cup, based on the reports. So, having said that, I say again, no human being should be subject to prison conditions that smell like a toilet, that literally are a toilet, a hole in the ground, with cockroaches running all over, poorly lit, tiny space, no furniture, no bedding, nothing to lie down on, no pillow. No one should be put in those kinds of conditions. But to arrest people, ensure that they don't go through that. But in the meanwhile, we have a justice system that puts thousands of other citizens through that, then that is pure unacceptable injustice.
Murder, then what? That is the question. And the answer takes us straight into how the state thinks when one of its own is accused of wrongdoing. For entertainment and educational purposes only. Let's chat, Trinbago. While we may disagree with the state's position, I think it's important we understand why the state behaves this way. The state's argument is not, we want to protect wrongdoing. The argument is closer to, the state must protect its institutions. Governments employ thousands of people. Police officers, prison officers, customs, soldiers, teachers, doctors, regulators, and many others that make difficult decisions every day. If the state abandons its employees the moment an allegation is made, officers may become afraid to act at all. Policing, especially, requires split-second decision-making in dangerous situations. The state, therefore, has an interest in defending its employees until the facts are fully established. 2. Allegations are not proof. We see what's going on in the news. Many complaints against officers are genuine. Some are mistaken and some are exaggerated. Some are simply false. If the state immediately accepted every allegation as truth, it would undermine due process. The same due process citizens expect for themselves. The state's position is often investigate first, determine the facts, then decide responsibility. So always keep these things in mind. 1. The state must protect its institutions. 2. Allegations are not proof. 3. They have to protect the treasury. And 4. The bigger fear of setting a precedent. People, pay attention. But we're not finished yet, because protecting institutions and following due process are only part of the state's thinking. There are 2 other considerations that become very important when the state is deciding how to respond. And this is where things get interesting. Don't worry, we'll get into those next. Until next time, Trinbago, I love you. Bless.
Looking on, and they still may not fully understand what the SSA or Strategic Service Agency is and why the confidentiality is so critical to its work. Can you just break that down for them?
Yeah, sure. So the SSA, we can look at the SSA similar to how you will see the CIA in the United States or MI6. So it is our main intelligence agency for law enforcement in the protective services. You need intelligence to be able to utilize it properly, to be able to ensure preemptive strikes, to prevent possible acts of terrorism, to deal with man-made disasters, any major operations, joint operation. It was because of the failure of intelligence that caused 1990 attempted coup. So the SSA is the main intelligence agency. There are other intelligence agencies, mind you, in Trinidad and Tobago, such as the Defense Force Intelligence Unit, the Cybercrime Unit, Special Branch has an intelligence unit, but the SSA is the main one, and that arm is part of the national security apparatus. It is very important that you need to safeguard the privacy of citizens and it is not abused, because the SSA has probably the most intrusive act that you can have, which is to be able to enter your private conversations, your emails, your texts, your messages, and all these things. It stays in a cloud. So when people feel like I'll send an email or a text, whatever, it stays there. So it is very important that you can safeguard the rights of citizens whilst at the same time balancing it to ensure that you can have some degree of infringement of those rights based on the greater good, which is that of national security. What we've seen now with this situation is that the SSA has totally gone way above and beyond trying to intrude on the privacy of citizens. Because pre-2010, there was a situation where the Prime Minister could easily call SSA, it was then known as the SIA, and will just tap the phones of anyone. We then, under the People's Partnership, the Interception of Communication Act came about, the IOCA, and that ensured that only the Commissioner of Police, the Chief of Defence Staff, and the Director of the SSA had authority to intercept. But there must be a trigger, there must be a reason. In this situation with the Hadids, up to now, the government has to give a trigger. What was the reason for you intercepting the phones of these individuals? You can't just do it willy-nilly. You can't just pick up yourself and say, look, today let me just intercept all the phones of people on WASN to see if they are committing a crime. No, it is not a fishing expedition. It is not a witch hunt. You cannot use intercept to look to see if you can find something on someone. There must be a trigger. Up to now, the government cannot state what was the trigger. And then, even after doing the interception, when the country listens to what was said, that there was absolutely no law that was broken whatsoever. None. And if it is that no law was broken, you cannot now say, well, let us keep these people incarcerated because we believe they have the resources to commit such an act. A private Donald Trump gets about, I think when I was listening with relevant persons in law enforcement in the United States, I think it's about 100 threats to kill him on a daily basis. But it is based on a conversation that is not a criminal offense. It might be unethical. And as it pertains to ethics, let me just quickly add, based on what you have about does racism prevail in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a government minister who is trying, that's Philip Alexander, basically telling people we should boycott Blue Waters because of a conversation that was put out in the public. Points to note, the lady who made those prejudiced remarks, she has no shares ownership of Blue Waters. Yet a government minister is trying to destroy a company because of what somebody else said in the presence of a wife of the owner of a company. That is madness. That shows a particular agenda to try to destroy. But what makes it worse and even more hypocritical is this same government minister referred to Afro-Trinidadians as monkeys. This same government minister referred to a media person as a half-pint Negro. And if that is the case, that he's saying that we should boycott and turn against Blue Waters because of what a 70-year-old lady said that has no involvement with Blue Waters, then based on a government minister making such racist statements, is it now that the government that everyone should turn against the government, boycott the government, and vote against the government? And let me finally add, the situation here with the intercept, again, for that to have taken place, and there was absolutely no justification to do so. Up to now, you have arrested a 70-year-old lady with no evidence whatsoever. Let me explain the justice system here. We have men who have been charged based on evidence for murder, rape, and kidnapping and get bail. But we have a 70-year-old woman who has not committed a crime, who has not done and has not broken the law. No charge lead, but she is now incarcerated indefinitely because of what she may have said that may be deemed some act of prejudice against another ethnic group. That is what happens when you put the most incompetent person to hold the position in charge of national security in a country.
Murdered in Port of Spain, Trinidad, but the government ignores the deaths that weren't their colleagues. At approximately 6 p.m. on the 27th of July 1990, there's an attempted coup. Being so short on manpower, arms, and public support, it's unlikely that it will be a successful coup, but more of a statement that was absolutely heard throughout the world. The insurrection lasts less than a week, and 24 innocent civilians are killed, but only 9 are recognized every year. So ironically, our government failed to protect us from the attack, but every 27th of July, the only names called to be honored with a minute of silence are those people that were killed in the building that houses the seat of government. The same government that failed to prevent the attack. The other 15 names are never called because the government never bothered to find out their names. So some are in unmarked graves even 36 years later. Side note, the facts surrounding the 1990 coup are murky at best. So if you have more accurate or recent info, please do not hesitate to put it in the comments. This would not just be about correcting what I have said, but also for public info, because this piece of July 27 is always swept to the side. Some people romanticize the attempted coup while demonizing the current extended SOE, not understanding that both affected your rights. And I don't think some people are really able to conceptualize how horrible the deaths during the insurrection were. Solomon McLeod was a 23-year-old police officer on sentry duty at the police headquarters. A station wagon comes charging in, he opens fire, but he's outmanned and outgunned. They kill him and drive over his body before they detonate the explosives in the car. His body is engulfed in flames. His charred remains were only retrieved after the siege was over. His mother, a primary school teacher, only learned how her son had met his death by reading it in the newspaper. Bodies were in the streets for days. A homeless man riddled with bullets was on the ground in Woodford Square, right in front of the Red House, the seat of power. But what is his name? We don't know. So he was placed in an unmarked grave. Instead of the government launching an investigation to at least be able to attach names to the citizens they mortally failed, they changed the 100-year-old wind vane on the roof of the Red House from a serpent to a dove. But this wasn't a luck issue. This was a government failing its employers. Switching the wind vane was a massive project. But instead of compensating the families of victims, we changed ornaments. Now this was done by the following administration. So they weren't the ones that failed to stop a coup attempt. But every subsequent government has to carry responsibility for inaction. There's a monument on a pedestrianized section of Knox Street, right next to the Red House, the Eternal Flame. It has the 9 names of the persons that died as a result of being on the Red House compound on that day. It's usually open to the public during daylight hours. This is where on July 27th, the wreaths are laid. Other than the families of the victims, the president, politicians, military, police, press, etc. gather for a minute of silence. July 27th, 2024, fell on a Saturday, so I found myself alone at the flame at 6 p.m. because official parliamentary functions are coordinated on weekdays. So the ceremony was not held until Monday the 29th. There was a lot of backlash for this. So although July 27, 2025 fell on a Sunday, the ceremony was held. That being said, I'm sure if the same people were invited to a 9/11 function, the day of the week would be irrelevant. I thought maybe I always overreact to the tragedy of the unnamed victims and lack of compensation for all victims because of my proximity to the event. Back then I lived in Port of Spain. My father on July 27th was chased across Queen Street and then had to run all the way up Frederick Street to the Queen's Park Savannah. And he described the chaos. I was in Port of Spain with my father the morning they were finishing up the wind vane swap. This also happened during school vacation, so we were forced to watch Little Mermaid and Batman on loop, mixed in with curfews, gunfires, vehicles pelting down streets, and looting just for groceries. But then I think about that same 9/11. Thousands of victims are remembered in bronze at the museum and the memorial. It provides a place of reflection and remembrance, designed to help those who were most affected by the attack to heal, and those with no memory of the attack to understand the losses that will forever be incomprehensible. We only had 24 and we couldn't do that. There was a commission of inquiry into the 1990 coup, a little less than a quarter century after the event. But as far as I know, the names were not contained in the findings. Again, if they were, please let us know, because this should not be something we have to go looking for. But I also believe the commission recommended immediate compensation to the families. But as far as I know, it hasn't happened. Please inform if you know otherwise. We lost a part of ourselves in the 1990 attempted coup. But 36 years later, there's still a lot that can be done to help mend, although we must accept it can never be the same. This may seem like a lifetime ago to some, but to 24, it is. Now if only we knew their names. because to their friends and family, it may seem like last week. To this day, if you listen to those surviving hostages speak, it feels like yesterday. You hear the horror and torment screaming through their silence. Officially recognizing people that were killed decades before is normal throughout humanity, especially in an atrocity like this where the government dropped the ball as it pertains to national security. And maybe one day these lingering July 27th ghosts will stop making us look like savages because only animals don't honor their dead.
So, my good people of Trinidad and Tobago, so today we are going to talk about something that many Trinidadians are saying that it affects them like every single day when they wake up, it really affects them. So that is all about crime activities in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, this is one of those particular topics, or rather stories that really sparks a lot of emotions, you know, because at the end of the day it raises like so much questions. So many Trinidadians are saying that it's now 2026, but still crime is still their biggest concern, not even the economy or even politics. Even the cost of living, like it's not like that main or biggest concern. Crime is. I mean, why is it that so many people feel this way in Trinidad and Tobago? That's a question that you might want to ask yourself. What is really happening in Trinidad and Tobago, and what can be done in Trinidad and Tobago so that this particular crime can actually go down? That is what we will actually talk about in today's video. And of course, the video is for educational purposes only. The goal is to understand the issue and not to spread fear, not to blame anyone. You know, at the end of the day, we all understand that crime is a very complex problem that many countries do face in the world. There are no easy answers to this particular solving of crime. I mean, every country in the world faces crime, and as much as some face more criminal activities than the others, what matters most is how a nation is going to respond, how a country, an island is going to respond to the crime menace. So across the entire island of Trinidad and Tobago, many people, many citizens of Trinidad and Tobago continue to express concern about safety in their island, and they are talking about it everywhere, at work, home. If you go online now, they are talking. If you listen to interviews, street interviews, podcasts, yeah, they are talking. They are sharing stories with friends and family, and many of them are saying that they feel less secure than even before. But again, remember that the government came out recently and said that crime has gone down by a certain percentage, which is good. You see, some are even avoiding to go out at night, honestly, and others are saying that they are actually changing their daily routine. You see, crime is something that affects businesses, and we've seen business owners saying that, you know, they are really worried about their businesses. Investors are also worried that, like, we can't invest in a place that is has high crime rates. And as much as some try to install CCTV cameras, we've still seen some situations here and there. We've seen people hire private police or private guards, and you know, all these come at an extra cost, and that can be very difficult, you know. And you know, something to do with crime, it's everybody who feels it. The families will feel that impact, the community, everybody will feel it. You see, all of us will have to worry about everything around us, our children, our properties, our loved ones who have gone to work, you know, those that are traveling. It affects everybody, even those that are at the top level. And at the end of the day, it will change how our villages, our communities in Trinidad and Tobago is going to function. So as you can see, crime affects more than even the victims themselves. It affects everybody, in short. So when people love, not really love, when people get to lose this trust that they have with the institutions that are in place, you know, it's really coming to be very difficult, because at the end, we will see our people becoming more cautious. We will see the businesses in Trinidad and Tobago becoming more careful, you know, and those tourists that want to come to Trinidad and Tobago, they'll be kind of skeptical about it, you know. And I mean, it at the end of the day, it will affect the economy of the good island. So we've seen many experts that deal with insecurity things or criminal things, saying that safety and investments go hand in hand. If there is no safety in a particular island, in a particular country, then it's going to affect investment, because the investors will have a problem coming in and investing in that town, in that country. Also, companies, if you look at these big companies, they love actually they love investing in a very stable and predictable environment. And if you look at tourists, before they come into your country, they look at security. Where is it ranked? Is it at the top there? They'll actually check on it. If at the end of the day, the people feel unsafe themselves, then you'll see them choosing to go to other destinations, and you're going to lose. That affects also jobs, because if these people come in, they'll require tour guides, they'll require to sleep in a certain place, be it a Airbnb, an hotel, just anywhere, and that will really, really be bad, because the businesses will be affected in a very negative manner or negative way, because these people will opt to go to another country. And crime comes in many, many forms. We've seen violent crimes that most of the time receive the most attention. We've seen also robberies that have brought out a lot of concern from the people. We've seen home invasion that has created fear, and gang violence that remains to be a challenge in many, many Caribbean countries, African countries, first world countries. We've seen that. So, I mean, these illegal firearms that our people have, illegal firearms, it means that they are not licensed. They continue to worry many governments, many institutions, and at some point in time, we've seen kidnapping also attract public attention. Cybercrime is another issue, by the way. It's another growing concern everywhere. We've seen online scams becoming more common. Oh my God. I mean, we've seen fraud that has affected both businesses and individual people. And technology, as much as it creates that particular so, guys, as much as this technology thing creates new opportunities, I can honestly tell you, I mean, it has been part of the criminal activities that has taken advantage. The criminals have unfortunately taken advantage, and they have actually got into the system. And nowadays, we get to see cyber crime issues, or issues to do with cybersecurity, that has become really, really immense. And of course, all of us will get to ask these particular questions, like why is it that crime tends to continue? Why is it that crime tends to go high up? So at one point in time, I get to see these particular articles from experts pointing out to possible reasons. And of course, it's not like there is this single cause, but again, with unemployment, we've got to discuss this most of the time, especially when we're talking about leadership and governance. We've seen young people struggle to find opportunities, or if they are there, they are very limited. And when opportunities are very limited, they tend to increase vulnerability. So again, social inequality is another issue. We have communities that are facing extreme hardships, and for them, of course, they'll experience like greater challenges. We've seen organized criminal networks that play a major role in this, and drug trafficking has remained to be a regional concern. And we've seen the Caribbean also sit along important trafficking routes. Illegal firearms can also cross borders, and this make enforcement more difficult. So at the end, the police will face many challenges, and they'll find themselves working under pressure most of the time. Imagine them responding to these dangerous situations, investigating serious crimes. Many of these officers perform difficult work every day. At the same time, the citizens also expect actions. They want quicker investigations, justice, safer communities. I mean, all this means that the justice system plays a very, very important and major role in a country or in an island. And if a court delays, then that becomes an issue, and it will be discussed. because you'll see at some point the cases, court cases take like so many years, and at the same time these victims want closure. We have seen communities everywhere wanting accountability, transparency, and as much as efficient courts are very, very important, it's also important to have strong institutions so that it may also help to build public confidence and trust. The government, they have introduced different crime reduction strategies, and this may be things to do with increased police patrols, special reforms coming in, the use of technology like body cameras. We have community policing whereby the community helps or assists the police, or they work together. They help provide information. We've seen legal reforms, the border security measures being stricter. We've seen citizens, accepting and welcoming these particular types of efforts that the government is trying to introduce. But again, if you look at the opposition, they'll be like, no, more should be done. Like, for them, they don't really agree with what the government is trying to do. I don't know for you, like, what do you really think about the entire situation? Because I know it's very important, but again, it's also well to also accept the fact that things like that, if a government suggests something and then others agree, others don't agree, then it's normal in a very democratic country. We will have opposition that will most of the time or 100% criticize government policies. We'll have government defend their strategies. We'll have citizens evaluate the results. We will have healthy debate at the end of the day, which is very, very important. And as much as facts matter a lot, crime statistics will help to provide context. Public perception is very important in any institutions and country. Sometimes statistics tends to improve, but the people still feel unsafe. And of course, both of these issues or experiences, they deserve attention. And feeling safe is very, very important, because when you feel safe, then everything works out well. Community leaders, they have a lot of ideas on how to curb criminal activities, and we've seen many of them saying that they really need stronger youth programs. For instance, even in Kenya right now, there is a member of parliament that is actually coming up with a bill in parliament to ensure that if you finish high school, like, it should be compulsory for you to go through the National Youth Service, and that's serving the country. So sporting activities, another program, educational skills training, mentorship, all this. I mean, keeping the young people engaged will create opportunities and will also help in the economy of the country. The community also, they have, or rather we have, a very important role to play. Our neighbors, just everybody, the school, everyone has a responsibility. The church, the mosque, the Hindu, okay, the temple, all of this, they really help to keep the people, everybody, to be engaged. And also, yeah, we just need the government to also support these particular community projects, investing in young talent. These opportunities will actually reduce hopelessness, because when everybody, or if you are hopeful, then that changes your life. Trinidad and Tobago is not alone in this. Other Caribbean nations also face crime challenges, and we've seen some of these countries or nations or islands improve. We've seen them, others have continued to struggle, and most of the time they learn from one another. If you actually get to share this successful strategy, then it's gonna benefit everybody. For those who have really helped in terms of improvement. So when TNT gets to cooperate with other international uh, bodies, that it really plays a very major important role, because criminal networks often operate across the borders. Regional partnership, therefore, will help strengthen the security, because if TNT works together with Guyana and Barbados, all this, if they work together, then it's going to be perfect and amazing, because regional partnership means they're going to share information, and that will help in terms of investigations. If they get to share technology, then it's really, really going to be perfect. Training institutions, they are going to be really beautiful. And as much as efforts take time, we just need to be patient. And of course, oversight will be there. And I know there are no overnight solutions, but it takes time. Building a safer community, building a safer island, building a safer country requires patience, and it also requires trust, accountability, transparency, because if actually trust between the people and the police is there, then I mean it's gonna be perfect. Trust between the people and the courts, between, I mean, in all public institutions. At the end of the day, you need to understand that trust without, I mean, people without trust, then things are going to be very, very difficult and hard. And what many Trinidadians want is just peace of mind, peace of everything. They want safety in their neighborhoods, in their villages, in their communities. They want their children to grow up without fear. They want businesses to succeed, visitors to enjoy their country when they come in, because, of course, they're coming to promote whatever is being sold there. They are really, really hopeful about all these things. Anyway, it's not only Trinidad that wants all this, also other nations, they want the same thing. I mean, crime should never ever define a country. Crime should never ever define a nation. Trinidad and Tobago has a very rich culture. It has talented people. It has beautiful landscape. It has vibrant communities, and many of them work every day to improve their island. That particular point of effort really requires and deserves recognition. As I mean, as someone who is really interested in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean island, we should always think critically, and of course avoid misinformation, checking on reliable sources, understanding facts, listening to different perspective, and respecting every other opinion. Complex problems require thoughtful discussions. Simple slogans rarely solve difficult challenges. Real solution need cooperation. It needs the government, it needs you, it needs the community, it needs families, and of course, everybody just has a role here. So I will really want to hear from you. What do you think about the crime in Trinidad and Tobago? Do you believe that it is still the biggest concern for TNT? And what do you think is the solution that could make a very big difference? Kindly comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next video. I love you to the moon and back, and thank you for always supporting this.